And welcome to the Geeks 31 Days of Horror for Halloween. This is Lil.
This is Steve.
And tonight we have a special guest back again, another year with Tommy. What's up, Tommy? How's it going, man?
What's up, fellas? Thank you once again for having me. This is what, the third year in a row? Fourth?
I think maybe the fourth, right?
I think so, yeah.
You know, like, because I can't even remember.
Because Mike did it first for a year or two before you jumped on.
Right. He did a while before me, yeah.
Yeah. So
what did we do? We did
Tourist Trap, Street Trash,
and Hookers. Hollywood
Hookers.
Right.
Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers.
Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers.
There it
right.
was.
So this is the fourth. This is the fourth. Yeah.
Right in line with your choice again this year.
Well,
yeah.
Keep it up. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as big of a horror guy as my co-host on the Jack Curry podcast, Mike D, is, who's a regular, to these horror reviews that you guys do every year. But I do love it, and I tend to, around the the Halloween time, enjoy watching these really terrible, like, B movies, like straight to video, like, video nasty movies,
Full Moon Pictures.
Yeah, like just the crap, because maybe sometimes you eat a little marijuana candy or whatever, you do what you gotta do, you drop it in your coffee, whatever, and then you want to just veg out and watch some stupid movie, and those are perfect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Always lots of tits. I always like to pick stuff that has lots of tits. It's just like real stuff that reminds me of, like, growing up in the 80s and why these movies, why you love them. Tits, stupid monsters, and terrible gory effects, and just the fact that you knew it was so bad that you could, even at a young age, laugh at it. Like even when you're 10, you're like, that looks like shit, but this is great, because in the next scene the girl has a tits out. But I love that kind of,
which is crazy, because in the 80s we were basically children, and yet these were the movies we were watching.
Right.
And like, that's just, like, I go back to a lot of these movies.
Like, go back to Never Ending Story. There's a scene where the camera's just focusing on these two statues' tits for like 15 minutes. It's like back and forth. That's a children's film.
This guy is
look at Howard the Duck. Howard the Duck.
There was boobs on that.
There was
on the duck lady.
They show a duck scumbag in the movie. Right? She pulls it out of his wallet. It's a scumbag. A con.
I'm still shocked by that.
I was trying to school a little on some of Tommy's lingo that I picked up from listening to Tommy's shows over the years.
But yeah, I just love that this like that genre, like real B, C level stuff, the of the 80s particularly. Oh, yeah. And so those are the other
C level for sure on these. I mean,
right.
Some of these that we've watched. I mean, Tourist Trap's a B for sure.
It's a B.
It's a good B.
Yeah.
Street Trash, D.
That's a C level. Or D level. Yeah. Well,
they just released the trailer for the new one.
Yeah.
Did they?
I
did not. Okay.
All right, you'll have to send it in that text right when we're done. Like, the Tourist Trap was the only one that I came to you guys with the movie that I loved. Like, I've been watching that since I was a kid. The other two are movies that I'd never seen either, that I thought would be fun to do with you guys. Like, it's got all those,
which they were,
all that criteria that I spoke about. Plus, I'd never seen it, and you guys had never seen it, so we were in it together, And I think they delivered on all fronts. Those other specifically Street Trash is
that one's still
it's such a bonkers movie.
So bizarre
that I am disappointed that we reviewed Frankenhooker this year without you, because there's an actor in Street Trash that's in Frankenhooker that I did not realize. I've been talking to Steve about Frankenhooker.
I didn't know until he showed up. And it took me a minute to realize who he was, but I didn't realize that any of that was connected. Otherwise, I would have told a little to wait.
You're talking about the main kid, the blonde kid, right?
Yeah, but I didn't recognize him.
The wise ass from Street Trash.
Yeah, and he
wrote those movies.
Bellboy. Yeah, so I didn't realize.
He's the writer. Yeah.
Because I remember as a kid going to the video store, I was at 11, 12 at the time, and like my mom wrote on the card, like, I could rent any movie, because she would let me go and pick up, because she liked horror and stuff as well. And I could pick up anything. I had carte blanche for
right. You had Mom's
stuff.
okay. Right.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember picking up Frankenhooker one time, not to watch it with her. I just watched it, and it was bonkers again.
Right.
But like, I remember certain scenes of that movie that I kept bringing it up to Steve. I'm like, Steve, we got to do this. And Steve's like, no, like he just ignored me every time. And I think finally I beat him down this year. And he's like, okay, let's do Frankenhooker.
Well, why were you all the other crap movies that you guys have watched? Why were you so apprehensive to watch Frankenhooker?
It seemed like not a movie that me and Alil would do. Like, that seemed like a movie that
me or Mike would do.
Yeah, well, I was just like, come on, Alil, we got to find these good horror movies. Like, we don't have time for this stuff. And then, but this year in particular, but that's past years. This year in particular, I was like, I'm not saying no to nothing. Every time Alil's thrown something at me, I'm like, all right,
right, because I started us with Maniac Cop, another movie I wanted to watch for years, right? Like, I've been bringing up Maniac Cop for years. I'm like, Steve, Bruce Campbell's in Maniac Cop. I like adore that movie, even though it is terrible. But then we did the trilogy, and we loved the trilogy. Even got Sean in on the trilogy, and like, we were just off the wall bonkers. And that to me is straight B-level type movie, right?
Oh, of course.
There's a place. There's a place for these things. Even my wife was asking me today. She's like, "Do you enjoy watching these?" I'm like, even if I'm not in the right headspace to enjoy a B movie, like, I can still watch it and see things that I'm like, "That's good. Right. That's good. That's good." I might not be laughing. It's hard. Sometimes you have to be in the right headspace to really enjoy a movie like this. And sometimes it's just not there, but you could still, even if it's not there, you can still find things. Like, I love practical effects. I love, I love finding things that I'm like, I'm going to make fun of that. I'm going to make a joke about that. I'm going to make fun of that. That man tripped over nothing. I'm going to make fun, like, I'm just going to keep, there's like lots of stuff. So
I also feel like with these really low budget movies, like tonight's movie, like, obviously, like, as we'll talk about it, like, it's not great, right? But I'm also kind of inspired by the fact that this band of people got together. Charles Band's, unironically, that his company, got these people together to make this, and everybody must have been like putting in 100% to get this done, even though it's crap. Like, everybody did their jobs, right? They were excited, and I kind of like that. I kind of get inspired by that, like these kind of misfits. They make their movie, I like that. Well, there's a charm to that,
it's easy to sit back and look at any movie and be like, garbage, but like,
right.
I'm not making movies, so we have to always say, like, whenever I shit on a movie, it's always with the caveat that it's better than anything I could do, though. So like, who am I to talk shit about it? It's just my humble opinion, but it's so. If my group of friends had made Creepozoids, I'd be like, this is the greatest thing you've ever seen,
like,
right?
This is the best thing anybody I've ever known has ever done,
Exactly, yeah. I think Steve and I, we had a listener that got really mad at us one year because we trashed a movie, but like, again, it was the same caveat. Like, we weren't in it, but the listener had his girlfriend in the movie. Like, she was one of the actresses in the movie, and he was messaging us. And then all of a sudden, like, we're like, sorry, man, this is not great. I forgot the movie.
It was called Zombievers.
Beavers. That's right.
I remember. That was the first traumatizing email we got as a podcast. He was really upset with us.
It was mad. But so tonight we're going to talk about Creepozoids from 1987. It says a group of survivors try to avoid the battles of World War III when they try to escape the Quiet Lands. They encounter something much more deadly. And this stars actually somebody with a movie we've seen. Leanna Quigley, who is in Return of the Living Dead.
Night of the Demons.
We haven't reviewed Night of the Demons yet.
Oh, really?
That's one of the ones I want to put on the list. Night of the Demons and Demons. Love Demons. One of my favorite movies. Tom Savini. Ken Abraham, Ashley, I think it's Gear.
So Ashlyn Gear.
It's Gear.
So
Gear.
This movie. This is a weird thing, guys. Hold on. I'm gonna jump in here because the name's a little fucked up. the actress in the movie that we're watching today, her name is like Kim McKay, right?
McKamey.
Yeah, McKamey. I'm sorry. And we're watching this movie today. I'm like, oh, that girl's cute. Like, I'd like to see her take her tits out, you know? And then I'm like, she looks kind of familiar. And so when I went on the IMDb to look at her name to see who the actress was, it brought me to some other page that said she went on to become the porn star Ashlyn Gear. So when I was jerking my prick back in the 90s, the late 90s, she was huge. Like, she was one of the top names, you know? So like any porno that you'd find, you know, videotapes that you'd find always had a scene of hers, or she was the star or whatever.
Because that's how we did it back in the day, ladies and gentlemen. We would find it. It was just laying around. You'd be surprised how much of it was just laying around.
At that point, we would kind of go to the stores, you know, because we were old enough, you know, we could go to the porno store. But yeah, so this girl, that actress, went on to become a porno star named Ashlyn Gear. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty hot too.
Noted.
Did not know that.
But now I do.
But it's Leanna Quigley that we get to see her breasts in this one.
And get to see him in everything.
and we got to see her breast in Return of the Living Dead as well, and it's kind of her shtick.
I think any movie she's in, she's got her tits out. Anyone she's in, she's naked.
Works for me.
She's a legend. Like, she is the BC horror movie scream queen legend, you know. For the TNA set, you know.
Yeah. My thing is what my wife has coined the horror porn that you and Mike bring to us.
But see, I think always horror porn is like those like Hostel movies where you get off on watching people get tortured.
That's horror porn.
Yeah, that's call that horror porn.
Yeah. She calls it horror porn because like every it's got to be every 15 minutes that there's a sex scene and boobs are popping out, right?
Yeah. Well, that's like that's the genre that I call like the sleaze.
So you need to call it horror smut. That's what it is.
Yeah. There you go. I'll have her change it.
Sleaze is I think what it's like, what they call it, like yes, the sleazies are what they call these type of movies. You know, they're kind of sexy and whatever.
Tommy back again, bringing us another sleazy this year.
Nice.
I like that. Bringing us to sleazy.
Nice.
So Tommy,
yeah.
Not a non-spoiler rating. What do you rate this movie? Since you brought it up, I know. I think
maybe you can go last if you want.
I thought I watched. No. I thought I've seen this one before. I had not. I remember the posters.
First time watch for me.
Yeah, first time watch for me too.
Yeah, it was a first time watch for me.
Nice. I would. Is there what's like right above a sidekick?
High sidekick.
A high sidekick.
All right, I would give it a high sidekick. Yeah.
All right. Steve,
I'm sitting at it's like critically rated. It's like a low sidekick, but like I found a lot of enjoyment out of it. Like I find little niche things that I like. So
that's the only way I'm. That's the only way I'm rating, because I don't. Obviously, it's not.
It's not good. Yeah, it's a sidekick. There's a lot of camp. There's a lot of pretty terrible acting. I wanted to see. I don't know what this monster even looks like, and I've watched most of this movie twice.
We'll get into that. Yeah,
you can see it in the poster what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like in the actual movie. It looks awesome on the poster, you know.
I know it doesn't look like that at all.
There's a lot. There's so much exposition that gets dumped on you with these words in the beginning, and none of it really matters. None of it matters. And then it's a very short movie at 70 minutes. Yeah. But there's like long stretches where we're just waiting for something to happen. You're like, back to that person, back to that person, back to that person. Right. It's been 10 minutes. Right. Can the baby get to the man already?
They stretched out a lot of scenes to build like tension, or to try to build tension.
Yeah.
And a lot of scenes like that where the alien's like throwing the guy, it's holding him above his head or whatever. and it's just the guys are screaming. It's like 10 minutes long. Nothing's happening, he's just holding this guy up and screaming.
No real on-screen. Well, I guess there's a couple of on-screen kills. There's a couple of stuff that happens there.
Everybody keeps getting thrown into shelves. Like that's
a lot of people are getting tossed around. This was filmed in a warehouse. They had one set.
I'm trying to share this poster so you guys can see what the monster kind of looks like.
Yeah, I was looking earlier. It looks cool.
Like a panther thing, but
I mean, like in the poster, she's basically topless because there's nothing there. In this poster, she's hanging out, and it's like monster.
And the guy from Contra is there.
It's a great poster.
Nobody had those pecs in this movie. That's ridiculous.
Right.
It's a sidekick, and it can't get any lower than that because of the monster baby. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Monster baby elevates it to a sidekick at least. Hello.
Okay, so I mean, we're not rating it as a film, right? We're just rating it as schlock entertainment. And so yeah, I would go with the sidekick as a schlock entertainment. This would have been great as a part of an anthology film where, like, literally if it was 30, 40 minutes,
right.
Like like Steve, you're on the nose. Again, a sin of mine is when I'm bored and seeing them crawl through the same tunnel to get to the same area where something happens off screen, or you see a hand of a monster or a tail of, it's just like, oh my God.
Yes.
But then the baby comes and that's hilarious.
Sins are forgiven.
My God.
I love that thing. I'm like, I want that baby. I want that baby on my shelf.
Like I was a little stoned watching, and I just kept cracking up. Like I just couldn't stop laughing.
They keep focusing on it, and he's mugging for the camera.
And the sounds, like I kept thinking of the guy doing the recording, like doing the overdubbing the growling. And I was just cracking up, thinking about some guy in a sound booth going, all right, can you do that again? Can you just give it a little more? Go lower. Perfect. Do it again.
Now we have to have a weird scene where somehow he like falls over and make like a sound, like a.
Yeah, I was laughing. Ridiculous.
It was... Spoilers.
There's a baby in the spoiler tag.
That thing scared the life right out of me, you motherfuckers.
We do that all the time.
I don't think
especially to our guests.
Motherfucker.
You should hear from our listeners, but it pops up like when they're hearing the audio only. Like it just that's why we started doing it randomly. We used to announce, let's get into spoilers. Like, for Halloween.
And it has to start with that scream because it's like,
bam.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh, Christ. You son of a bitches. Ruining my high,
It starts off with like all these. Well, it starts off with like this lady in leg warmers and some like side ponytail doing a science experiment with purple pills or something. I'm like, what is going? What's happening?
I didn't. Was that scene before they tell you it's the future?
Yes.
Right.
I think so. Or they're
that happens, and then they say, we get the exposition dump. Right. It looks like this lab. I don't know. They don't really explain a lot because that Alex guy seemed to know everything, and he's the first motherfucker.
Right, and that's the same lab, right? It's the same lab that we get to at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I was wondering, like, if it's happening concurrently with the opening of the movie, or if this happened in the past.
I feel like this happened in the past because the lab and everything that they're in, it feels like it's been dust for a very long time.
Right.
It's got that layer of dust. They're blowing dust. It's old keyboard, whatever.
But then it opens up and it's like, it's been 2 years since the world ended. Yeah. Like, since the superpowers exchange in nuclear war, small pockets of survivors eke out a miserable existence here and here. And then these people come on and they start talking about like they're deserters from the military. There's all this shit going on. I'm like, that's not what your opening crawl just said. Because when they first showed up, I was like, this group of survivors, if this is only 2 years after the bombs fell, all these people were like alive then, like they're to look like they're doing all right. They're all wearing matching outfits, like.
Right.
But it turns out like the military's still in place, all the stuff. So I'm like,
I didn't give that much thought because I just assumed that they, it's like their movie,
You know what it was? I had to watch the opening twice. So.
Oh my god!
I had a lot of time to think about it.
I gotta share this with you guys because we were talking about the baby, and this is an international poster, and you get full glimpse of baby right there on the bottom.
No,
baby.
Yes, but that's also not what the monster looks like.
Yeah, the monster doesn't look like
this monster looks so cool that this monster we get not so
that
much.
Poster rules though, man. All the lighting effects on that.
That is really cool. Somebody painted that, that's amazing.
Yeah,
we put way more work into that than they did the movie.
Well, that's how they sold it, right? That's how they actually sold distribution, is like having these great one sheets, and it's like, oh, this is what we're getting. Here's a check. Here's a check. Here's a check, and then you see it, and it's a old Kmart that they just threw in a couple.
I fucking need that poster, man.
It's like the McDonald's advertisements, like.
Look at this burger, and then you get it, and you're like, "What the fuck is this?
Where's the burger?
Doesn't look like the picture."
It's only $20 on moviepostershop.com. So there you go.
So we get what is this? A group of 6, three dudes and 2 ladies.
I think it's 5, right? It's 5.
Yeah,
that's 5. Do the
math. There's the one nerdy guy who does not have a girl with him,
right?
And then the two couples, basically, it seems like,
right.
And
the nerdy guy was a very good actor, I thought. Like out of all the people,
he acted very well, and he was the first one taken out. Like
he's the only one that charged money. That's why they had to get rid of his ass real quick. They're like, you can't be here very long. You're shining everybody.
You're ruining our budget.
Now, I bet at this point in the '87, Leanna Quigley probably fetched a good amount of money because she's pretty well known.
I'm sure because she was well known for
and she's also the lead act. She's the first name.
She's top billed.
The marquee name. Yeah. That's what top billed. Right. I'm sorry. We keep getting sidetracked. Go ahead.
That's okay.
No, that's the point of this.
This is exactly.
So it's a futuristic world. This little group of soldiers, I guess they are, right, are out to do some scouting. They go to, they do in like The Walking Dead, right?
But like they tell you it's a futuristic world, but all you're in is this warehouse the whole movie.
Right. Well, the opening looks like they're in a parking garage, like in LA.
I'm like, that looks like Stockton right now.
Right. It's an empty LA parking garage, right? And you're supposed to get that it's a desolate, post-apocalyptic world, and they find a facility, I guess, right? That they could hide in because it's starting to rain. It's acid rain. They gotta get out of the rain.
I gotta hijack this again. And I can't believe because I pulled up the whole. No, not even with the poster. This is like a full circle moment. Leanna Quigley was uncredited in Tourist Trap as one of the mannequins.
What?
Oh,
yep. I'm looking at her whole oeuvre here, and she
wow.
was in 1979 in Tourist Trap as a mannequin, uncredited.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
That's one of your leading ladies. Then
I'm like, this is full circle for us doing this with you, Tom. Look at that. So
she's in a lot of
there's
movies.
A lot of movies I forgot she was in. I'm like, what?
She's in tons of shit, man.
So they find this facility and they want to stay there forever because they deserted the military. Their idea is like, we're just going to stay here. We're just going to live here.
They have food in there. They have supplies. They have working water. So they're like,
monsters.
Right. We could just hole up here until whatever. I don't know what they think is going to happen, and just stay here. Hide out here, and then eventually we come to realize that.
Rodents of unusual size.
Right. This facility is not what it seems, right? It's strange off the bat because it's like empty, but they said it never looked like deserted or never looked like there was any sort of a problem there, that it was just empty. So like, well, maybe somebody is here. We just don't know it. Right.
Yeah, but it's funny because it's like they kind of went looking for these monsters. Like the monsters weren't doing anything. They didn't like really come out at them. It's kind of like that they were doing things, and they were like the one guy, the nerdy guy who got killed first. Like he like moves this grate underneath that was it was all closed off. Like the scientists had this place pretty secure.
True, yeah, I didn't think
from
of
the
that,
monsters until they started digging further. Like they would have been, this movie would have been over. Like they would have just lived this nice existence in these 5-6 rooms, had all this food, all the chow,
cohabitated, right?
Computer to play with, whatever. Like with with AOL at the,
But no, they needed more, always more.
Well, that's in every fucking movie, right? It's like, why are you going into that house that no one's home? Like you're not supposed to go in there, and they go in anyway. In this movie, they find what could be a nice safe space, and then they go exploring. Like,
but I mean, you got to take. I mean, in context, it's this place versus the acid rain. So I understand.
No, I'm not saying that they're wrong for that, but just that why go looking for problems?
Yeah, stay out of the grates. Maybe in the post-apocalyptic future where there's monsters running around, stay out of the fucking grates. This can't be the only place in all of Earth where there's monsters from the apocalypse.
Right. But to be fair, I don't know how these creatures play into the post-apocalyptic world,
or if they're not created in the lab.
I think they were created in the lab. I don't think they were
created at the beginning of the movie with that woman. Yeah, so they were creating these creatures, and I don't remember if
that woman
within the movie they may have said something. Oh, you know what it was? They were trying to create a creature that can live without food. Because they were worried about the post-apocalyptic.
They're soldiers. They were trying to figure out how people can live without food.
Right.
And it created.
So that was after the nuclear war.
Right.
But
it created the isotope that created the monsters. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but that was before because the war was going on, and they were, because of the war, there was famine and all this kind of stuff. Right. So how can we feed our soldiers?
Not for nothing. There's a good idea in here. This could
maybe
if there was a little bit more monster in the monster movie, but the sin of this movie is not so much the character, even though like they're pretty terrible actors for the most part.
Yeah.
And their delivery of lines is just such exposition dumps. There's never any emotion behind anything. It's the sin of this movie is the monsters. Is you never get to see him. The most you get is that one fucking 8-minute shuffling shot where you get to see his feet over and over again, like fucking skipping across the floor, hella slow,
taking forever.
God damn! I'm like, it's like, why are you scared of that thing? Like it's so slow.
But it also seemed like every time you did see a glimpse of this monster, like even on those like weird cuts, those close-ups and whatnot, it never looked like it was from the same monster.
Yeah, I'm like, is that its head? Like, is that where its arm goes?
It didn't look like they had like they built a cohesive xenomorph, and that's what he was going to look in every shot, like right.
Like they show the feet.
It was one arm.
You see the feet shuffle, then the head moving, then the feet shuffled,
but like different. They didn't look like it was from the same creature.
Yeah, so they just use different heads.
Right, they were just
different arms all the time. Like fuck it,
exactly.
This is what we got.
Right, like it's a monster. What do we got on hand? All right, well, this looks kind of like it might be an appendage of that creature. We'll just use that.
Man, has to be something like what they did. And the rats that they got, they were just stuffed animals.
Right,
they were just holding them and like
the bodies didn't move.
You just had that same guy going in the sound booth.
What was that? Was oh my god, why am I drawing a blank on that on a Monty Python movie? With the rabbit. Remember when the rabbit was attacking? It was like a plush rabbit.
What the hell's the name of that movie? Life of Brian.
Yeah, there you go. Like the rabbit, the rabbit just jumps and attacks them. It's like, it's a plush rabbit.
And it always attacks. Exactly and even the baby.
But that's a joke,
It always goes for the neck. It's always like,
like why the neck?
They're always holding it the same way, and they always throw it like super fast off screen. Like, like why didn't you do that 10 minutes ago if it's so light?
Yeah, this creature did not look great. They could have at least used a hand puppet to make the mouth move, like something.
Even when it finally does kill Blanca, it's like it's a scene that you don't see it. It's an on-screen death that you don't see. It's hard to explain. Like he picks her up and you see her feet and she's screaming, and you see her feet and you can hear the monster roaring, and then there's some blood that comes down and she stops screaming.
Right. And that's just like a ripoff of a scene from Alien too, Yeah. Like it's like total. There are a lot of obvious ripoff scenes from
Alien can do that because they show us some cool shit after that.
Of course,
but this one, I'm like, this is your finale shot. What the hell?
Well, this was literally made probably for $50,000. I mean,
Sure.
I think it's 150 grand.
Was it 150?
I think that's what I read. Yeah,
I should have looked that up. But yeah, I mean, like it's pennies.
Sure.
And
but I still have to talk about it.
No, I agree. We still watched it, and it's still out there to watch. But I think I have to give it credit though for like when the first guy who dies, like when they're doing the sciencey stuff, and they're like, oh, he because he ate, he basically killed himself because he doesn't need to eat. So like she did create it, even though it's going to turn him into that monster.
Right.
It was a protein deficiency or something like that, right? Like I was like, oh man, that's again, Steve.
There's a good idea.
Kind of smart. This is a movie that's
can be remade.
Up for a remake, right?
Like it has been remade as a movie called Hybrid in the 90s, I believe. That's all I read, that it was remade as a movie called Hybrid. So I don't know how close of a remake it is, but and I never saw that movie, so I don't know.
Right. I'm just on the wiki, and they don't even reference that. Bastard.
Well, we'll have to maybe look that up.
It was remade in except for right here where it says it was remade in 1997 as Hybrid.
Steve is not paying attention.
A little too late. So, I mean, basically, this movie, there's a 15-minute shower sex scene.
Yeah,
and
which is awesome.
Repeated crawling through a
hero
tunnel.
For that scene. Except for the ADR. God, I hate the ADR in those scenes because they're always like nah, but like they're it's not what they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
It's just like
the scene where he's crawling through the tunnel like John McClane style. There's that scene. You just heard for whatever it was 10 minutes, but you heard like overdubbed on top of it was like the creature like growling. Like you watch that again, and it's just
made no sense.
Every time it cuts to him, you see
like, is it crawling after him?
I don't know.
Because is it big? Can it fit in the grates? Like I don't even understand.
I just love the sound effect. I was fucking crying, like listening to the sound effect, the stupid the growling sound. It was ridiculous. We're not talking about anything plot wise here, I guess.
Because there is no plot. There really is no plot.
Was there another point you wanted to make about the plot, Tommy?
No, I don't know. I don't really remember what it was. So they realized like what the creature is. It was part of this experiment. They were trying to create these creatures that don't need to eat, and can regenerate their cells. Blah 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 blah, and they turn into these giant monsters. But you're right. Like after we find that out, there's no
nothing happens.
Like there's no point.
It's right. Like a chase movie.
There's no end game. Like there's no we have to stop them for blah blah blah.
How many are there? Is there one? Are there dozens? Like, I don't even know how many there are.
I guess it's just the one. Because they needed to impregnate.
Yeah. What happens to the guys? Like, don't the other guys turn into those monsters? Like, there's at least 3.
The one guy literally.
But they get the big yellow eyes and and they start turning black, and like it almost feels like they're gonna like cocoon right there.
It ain't. I mean, I would have if they showed us that he turned right, and then they had 2 puppets.
That's what I kind of was like making that like, that the monster is that first guy that died, and then they're worried about this Butch guy because he's the second guy.
Because the first guy that died had the monster puke into his mouth the goo that turned him.
Yeah, and that happened to the second guy too. So
but they didn't. They just died.
I did like when that lady turned into the zombie from the rat bite, and then like she's like chasing the one girl around the room, and that one girl just like you could see it in her face. She just decides, I bet you I could take her. I'm gonna fuck her up, and then she just proceeds to beat the shit out of the zombie. Like she's running around like and then she's just like, wait a second, she kind of hit me there for a minute. It was hella soft, like bam.
Yeah, the girl
zombie goes down.
The girl that gets bit in the neck is Ashlyn Gears. That's the dark-haired girl, the porno star girl. Who it's just she's just about to take a top off in a scene here, and they're like, all right, and then like the monster comes in, so she gets scared or whatever. I'm like, God damn it. Gonna wait one more minute, monster. Fucking prick.
Good thing she found her new calling.
Right. Good thing I can
plenty of examples.
Go onto Google and put her name in and nude at the end of her name and see her tits all night long, you know. I must have jerked off to her at several points in my life when I was a younger man, you know. In the 90s, you know.
He must have.
I mean,
she must have been the recipient.
The law of averages. I mean, it has to come up at some point.
So I don't even remember how it ends.
Well, the dude is like so.
Well, he beats the alien.
The zombies fighting.
Yeah, right. Because then the baby fight.
He beats the alien. He knocks him down.
Hold on. The girl fights the zombie, and while she's fighting the zombie, that's when the monster's chasing. Dude, remember he starts shooting with a laser gun? Where the fuck did the laser gun come from? And why didn't they use that more? I was like, it's Star Wars all of a sudden.
I didn't even think, you know what? I didn't even realize that.
It's a fucking laser gun.
Yeah, right. Oh shit.
And then like he's running down the hall. He's like, and then like it does a close-up on his feet where he trips on nothing. Like he stubs his own toe on the ground. Like, and he's like, and then he does like the Austin Powers where he's like up against the wall with a gun in his hand. He's like, ah,
right.
like shoot. And also that thing's really slow.
Right. You know, also like Austin Powers. Right.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's ridiculous. You know,
and then she's trying to wake him up. She's like, get up, Jake, get up. And that's when the monster comes and fucking picks her up and eats her. And then he's like sitting there. He's like, ah! He gets up and starts running.
That was another thing. And anytime somebody was getting like destroyed or whatever, the other characters would just stand there and watch and like yell, like run or hit them with a fucking chair or something.
You're all in this together.
Do something, you know. You just standing there, fucking watching like an asshole.
And I never know what his injuries are. Like he's digging through this fucking box for crazy long while this monster's crawling down the freaking hallway, and he's like, "This'll do the trick." I'm like, stop talking to yourself. And then there's like a scene where he's like, he's like stabbing the monster with this concoction, whatever he found in his box, and then he crawls away. He's like holding his leg. I'm like, oh, the monster got his leg. Right. And then that's when we see the baby kind of come out. And I'm like, oh, this movie just got great.
Right.
But then 20 minutes later, when the baby gets to him finally, and he goes, again, just the scream. And then,
that's how they filled the 72-minute runtime. It was like 20 minutes.
27 minutes of the baby. Yeah.
He yells, the baby falls. Like he didn't like that. Did he punch the baby? I don't know. There's just like, and then he gets up and he's running around, like walking on all. I'm like, is your leg hurt or not?
Well, it's also like he's sneaking around. It's a baby. Like, why are you like? It's not like he could sneak up on you. You know, like it's a small baby. He doesn't have superpowers. He doesn't have like the strength of a man.
It flies around.
Just a fucking
jumps
baby.
Onto his neck. Like,
right. It climbs, I guess. Right. And it always jumps on his neck. Like it never misses that spot. Like why not bite an ankle? You know, like something a baby would do.
But it doesn't even do anything to like rid himself of the baby. Like he like pushes it off and leaves the room.
Nothing.
It's like
kill it. Nothing. Stomp its head. You know, it's a baby.
Like go watch Incarnate. She'll tell you how to handle that baby.
Just kick it or something. And he just keeps getting attacked by this baby incomprehensibly. Like why is he? And why does it just keep happening? And the baby. Look, the baby for what it was looked creepy. It was
great.
It was so
Cabbage Patch doll painted black.
But, right. It was fucked up. It was just looked demonic and gross. And
it was like imagine the baby from the Beetlejuice movie. You know, you got the Beetlejuice baby in there, but like more evil.
Yeah.
Like and looks like a monster, like
actually looks
back and shit.
Right. Yeah. Looks devilish. Right. And then the guy just chokes the baby to death. So when it comes time for him to actually do him in, he just chokes it to death, which I thought was amazing, just took him forever, but he choked.
But not long enough. He didn't hold it long enough.
And I'm watching this movie. I'm zooted. I'm thinking about them shooting this scene, like this grown man wrestling around with this baby. And like, all right, take two, do it again. Oh, can you just, like lean into it a little more, make the baby, make sure he looks like he's hurting you. You're like, okay, all right, take two, do it. Like, I'm thinking of this while I'm watching this scene.
Get on top of the doll and strangle the shit out of that little doll. Okay, I really want you to lean into it.
You're scared of the doll. Look scared. Arr, arr.
Tommy could not have weed on a movie set.
That kind of stuff is funny to me. Like thinking about the behind the scenes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like what these people must have been thinking. This guy's like, I left my hometown to be an actor. Like I was gonna hit it big.
Came all the way from Ohio.
I'm wrestling a demon baby. Look at it quickly. He's got a tits out. Like this is what my life has become, But I'm living the dream. I'm still living the dream.
Hollywood, baby. This is where stars are made. Creepozoids.
To where stars are made. Yeah.
But this is like all these movies are like cult movies, right?
They had to be like this crap. They had to have the best time though. They made this movie. There's no
15 days that they shot it.
No restrictions on anything. They're just partying all the time.
Which is crazy. 15 days that it took to shot this.
Given the amount of money it took, the fact that they filmed it on one location, that they shot it in 15 days, this is a pretty good movie. Like
it's got to have its credit where credit's
right.
due.
If you think about all that shit, like the creatures, even though they don't look consistent, and the rat looks pretty terrible. Like some of the creatures shit is cool. Some of the weird transformation stuff is kind of cool. The guy's head was
when
like
the baby came
exploding.
out and, had to rip its own umbilical cord.
Right, the cocoon baby I thought was creepy. Like
I didn't understand it. I'm like, what did it come out of? What part of the monster was laying on the ground?
Yeah,
I was so lost on the monster itself.
But it looked creepy. Like it did look like unsettling. So like it does have some merit to it. I think like it's enjoyable, especially if you're high on a marijuana candy. Like, then you love it, but like I feel like this is something like if you watched with your friends, you guys would laugh. You wouldn't be like, oh, why do we waste our time? You'd have a good time watching it.
No, this is one of those watch with a group of friends, have some drinks, have some smoke, and
laugh about it. And you like, man, that was I just spent a great 70 minutes.
This would be a good like Fathom movie event, like with fans of that kind of thing. Like how like Rocky Horror Picture does.
Right.
Like,
Troll 2 or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I could see something like that. People throwing popcorn at the screen and shit.
Like, Creepozoids, right?
As soon as the shower scene happens, the loud whistles and
everybody's hooting and hollering.
Well, has to be. That'd be
great. Some people leave for the restroom.
And you know how it ends? It ends with the baby mugging at the fucking camera in a freeze frame. It's fucking great.
So other movies, like, okay, let's think of like Star Wars, the end of Star Wars. Like
Yub-Nub?
No. Like Empire Strikes Back, let's say. Like like there's a continuation. Like, all right, these guys are defeated. The Emperor's, whatever. Yeah. Like something's happening here, right? This end of this movie, this like comeback or whatever it is, it's like, wait, so it just keeps going? Like, so we're to believe that this little creature who we thought was dead looks in the camera, right? And then in my mind's eye, he goes back to chasing that guy.
He's like,
like it just keeps happening.
He's just upstairs.
Right, exactly. Like he's like, well, I'm not dead. Why am I quitting? Like, why am I gonna let this guy get away? I'm just gonna keep at him. Because what the fuck else are you gonna do?
You may as well have been like ding ding, like right in the movie.
Right. Round two, right. So that's why that's like, so that little scare or whatever they were trying to do there, like it makes no sense in the grand scheme of things, like even in Friday the 13th part 1, like the jump scare, when the Mongoloid Jason, like that wasn't really intended, right? That was something that they kind of added on during production, and but it played into the rest of the Friday the 13th movies, right? Like it became a part of the movie. It wasn't just a scare for scare's sake, even though that's what it was intended to be. They worked it into the movie. Like, how do you work this ending into anything other than this little creature just keep trying to bite that guy? You know, like there's nothing. You know, like just ongoing until he stomps that baby's fucking skull in.
He should have. I mean, it's right there. It's at least unconscious, or if it's not unconscious, it's pretending to be. Catch him while he's trying to pull a fast one.
Right.
You know, make him go night for realsies.
You make sure. You know, you.
That's why if you go and watch Salem's Lot, that little kid rules because that little kid makes sure that motherfucker dead. He's like,
right.
Yeah.
I didn't like that movie, but whatever. That kid was. I like the little kid though. Right now, guys, the fucking World Series is on. You guys do the sports?
I do, but my Cubs aren't in it. I know the Dodgers are winning.
Oh, you're a Yankees fan, right?
Last I looked, the Dodgers were winning.
Are you a Yankees fan or a Mets fan?
My mom's a Yankees fan, so I guess by default I am. I'm not really a baseball guy, but I mean, it is New York, and you're out there in California. So.
Yeah, but I'm closer to the Bay Area, so the Dodgers are like the devil up here.
Oh, okay.
Because everyone's rooting for the Yankees up here because nobody wants to see the Dodgers win.
All right, good. Keep that up. All right.
But I mean, you know, they paid for that championship. They're gonna get it.
Probably. So thank you, Tommy, for joining us tonight. Why don't you let everybody know where they can find you?
I feel like when I know anybody's going to listen to this and say, "What the fuck was that movie about?"
It doesn't need to be anything.
Right.
We covered enough. That's what
we tried. We tried to make sense of the plot.
The movie was about nothing. That's literally what the movie.
I would recommend people watch it. You know,
100%
with the mindset that like this is going to be some dumb fun.
Yes.
I'm on Instagram at Tommy Lombardozzi. I'm sure you'll put my name. People can go follow. I'm an artist. If you want to hire me to do some artwork for you, I could do that.
And a singer, talented singer.
I am. I don't sing for money though. You can't pay me to sing your song. Actually, maybe. Let's talk.
I mean, and, can you do it shirtless?
Come on, Tommy. Everyone's got a price.
Then I'm paying.
I might be able to, maybe.
Oh, Tommy's got OnlyFans.
I do have bills to pay, but
Tommy's got his only. What's your OnlyFans tag, Tommy?
Topless Tommy.
Fat Slav. Brooke. I don't know. Whatever.
Topless Tommy's tunes. That's what.
Terrible. No one wants that.
TTT. I like
that. It's a real sleazy.
I'm Tommy at TTT.
Yeah. And I co-host the Jacked Kirby podcast with Mike DeVito. We're on Instagram at Jacked_Kirby. You guys know these guys were on there last week, 2 weeks ago. We had a good time.
2 weeks ago.
Always fun talking to you guys, and I enjoyed doing this with you guys. Thanks for having me back again.
We love having you. I think I've already got, after we record, I've got a preview of what I think next year's movie is going to be. So we'll talk. I'll let you pick, but I found something
you think I might like. All right.
Might intrigue you. So that's it for tonight. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. This is Lil.
This is Steve.
And this is Tommy.
And until tomorrow night, everybody, keep it creepy.